Hello and welcome to POLS 4850, Constitutional Law 2, also known as the Bill of Rights class. My name is Troy Hendricks. I'll be your instructor this semester. I don't normally do PowerPoints for introductory lectures, so if you see me kind of looking off here, I'm looking at the syllabus. So this video is going to be an introduction to the topic and then a brief introduction, of course, because we're going to spend the rest of the semester talking more in detail. And then basically going through the syllabus and the expectations and late policies and all that sort of thing. And then I'll be posting other videos throughout the semester on specific chapters. And on those, I'll be referencing PowerPoints and all of that. But in this one, I would suggest you, if you just want to follow along in the syllabus, just open up the syllabus on a screen and then this YouTube video will accompany that. So as I mentioned, if you've seen my introductory page, my name is Troy Hendricks. I've been teaching here at CBU for, I think it's just for a long time, since 2004. Before that, I taught community college called Emerald College in Texas. I taught criminal justice there. I also taught some law enforcement, police academy type classes, arrest, search, and seizure, which is Fourth Amendment, which is, of course, a huge part of the Bill of Rights, criminal law, courts and criminal process, and all those kinds of things. And then in an academic level, but then also in a police academy classes. And then before that, I was a lawyer for the Texas Department of Public Safety, which is the state police agency, the Highway Patrol, narcotics, Texas Rangers, etc. So I bring some field experience in this area, and then also a lot of academic experience. I've been teaching it for over almost 30 years now, for over 30 years, however you want to look at it. So this course then, so my phone number is in the syllabus and my email, and you're free to call, but I'm not in the office all that much, so because it's summer, or is it? And the email is the best way to get a hold of me. Of course, I will move heaven and earth to try to get back to you within a day. If for some reason I do not get angry at me, please just re-email me and I will get back to you. Sometimes, as you know, you get a blizzard of emails and what was on page 1 gets shoved down to page 4. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you, if I do not respond to your email in a timely manner, and timely is within 24 hours, except on the weekends, which may be a little bit longer, then please do not hesitate to poke the bear, if you will, and get back to me. I will get back to you. I try to get back to all emails. I do get back to all emails eventually, but I always, of course, try to get back to them in a very timely manner. In terms of online education, if you've not taken an online class before, this is going to be, to some degree, drinking water from a fire hose. Not my fault. You wanted to take the class, and it's 8 weeks, and it's a lot of information in 8 weeks, so you've got to keep up with things. This is a self-motivation class. If you're not internally motivated to get it done, I can only do so much. So I can't want this more than you. You have to want it. So just please keep up with assignments. In my experience, the biggest problem students have is when they fall behind, and then they fall really behind. Everybody falls behind every once in a while. That's fixable, redeemable, however you want to say it. But you get so far behind, it can be very hard to catch up in a very short time period. So my initial advice to you is do the readings and keep up, of course. If you fall behind, don't let it linger. Catch up as quickly as you can. If you have a major life event that is preventing you from doing that, and I do not mean vacation that your mommy scheduled for you 2 years ago. She should have known you were going to be in school. But I mean, illness, death of family, car wrecks, etc., those kinds of things, then by all means, let me know as soon as you possibly can. If you start missing assignments due to medical stuff, I'm going to need doctor's notes and those kinds of things, sort of to justify why, as you might imagine in today's world, and especially in an online environment, it's very easy to shine on a professor. And I don't like to be shined on. So anyway, I won't harp on that a lot, but just by all means. I just need some proof of your difficulty as much as you possibly can document that. The text is the 11th edition of Tar and Munoz. It's called American Constitutional Law, Volume 2. There is a Volume 12 out, which is, I'm going to move to that somewhere down the road. 11 is a good one. If you get backwards into 10 and 9 and 8 in law classes, if you're more than 4 or 5 years out of date, you are out of date. And I'm not going to cut your meat for you. You wanted to take an online class, so this is going to be your self-starter thing. So if I start talking about courses or tests that are cases, I can't even speak, that are not in the book, that's not my fault. So the 11th edition, I'll already have to supplement some cases from the last few terms that do not appear in that edition of the book. Anyway, so just get the book. You're already paying for it. The course comes from the book. The cases come from the book. Many of the assignments come from the book, of course, as well. So if you're a student, and I don't mean a customer, but a student, students buy books and read books. If you don't buy the book and read the book, you are not a student. You are a customer. If that sounds mean, I'll live with that. So the Rossman Tar book is a good book. It's pretty much down the middle. So I don't really like I don't like left and right political bomb throwers, really, quite frankly, from either side. And these guys seem to mostly just kind of call it as they see it. I'm sure there's biases in there somewhere, but one of the reasons I chose this book, and I did choose this book, and I use this version or these two authors in my con law classes and have for years, they pretty much just sort of give you, here's what the court said, right? And they seem to keep some of their personal views, for the most part, out of it. Course learning outcomes and all of that sort of stuff. Some of the things that are new or newish might be the way discussion boards and all that sort of stuff are done. But again, those are the things that get behind. So there's the late policy in the end is if things are late, and pretty much everything, the major assignments will be due on Sunday night at midnight. There are in the discussion boards where some things are due on Saturday, and then the response is due on Sunday. At the end of the semester, when we get to the very end in week 8, the last assignment will be due. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Let me scroll down real quick. It'll be due day 3 or day 5 rather, the critical assignment, and that's because grades will be due to the registrar really quickly on the following Monday after the end of the semester. So most other major assignments will be due day 7, which remember in CBU online speak is Sunday at midnight. So that's kind of the default due date, right? So, and then in the schedule, you'll see a few day 6s. Those are usually, again, the discussion board assignments. And the last week, you'll see the discussion board is due day 3 of week 8. And the critical assignment is due day 5 of the week 8. Day 5 is Friday, right? So just keep that in mind as well as we go forward. I myself sometimes get lost in the day 5, day 6, day 7 stuff. So Sunday is going to be the due date for most of the work here. The midterm, there'll be a midterm assignment and there'll be a critical assignment, which is basically like a research paper. There'll be some videos that it sort of explains some of those as we go throughout as well. If you look at the assessment policies, so there's 8 discussion board assignments, 25 points each. There are 6 assignments, which are like response essays and those kinds of things. Get you go a little deeper into the topic. The midterm essay is 150 points, and then the critical assignment, which is also known as the final assessment or final exam or final paper, is 200 points. So remember, again, just kind of a piece of advice. If you do fall behind and you think, oh my gosh, there is no way I'm going to be able to finish all of this work, right? Let's say you're missing the midterm essay and like 2 discussion boards. The midterm essay is 150 points, right? The 2 discussion boards are 25 points. So for example, if you do not have time to do 3 assignments, my advice to you is do the big one, right? The big one is the most points. You can probably survive missing a discussion board here or there. I don't suggest it, and I'm not asking you to do that. But if push comes to shove and it's week 8 and you're pulling your hair out and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot finish this, do the big ones, right? Get the most points possible in terms of that, right? In terms of passing the class. So obviously the ideal is just to do your work and keep up on your assignments and all those kinds of things. But I also know that life happens and people forget and life happens, bad things, etc. So anyway, just kind of keep that in mind. Think strategically if you have to, right? Again, keep up is the better option, but if you don't want to lose all your time and effort and money, do the big assignments, make sure those are in first, which would be the midterm, the critical assignment for sure, and then the bigger assignments, just keep that in mind. You might say, why are you talking about that, Professor? It happens every semester. So my advice to you, if you fall behind like that, the final grade scale there, ABC, etc. I don't really, the rubrics will give you the point breakdowns and all those kinds of things for the most part. And then the discussion there, you can see it in the course schedule. So this is the Bill of Rights. So we're not going to talk necessarily about the war in Iran or tariffs or trade or interstate commerce, any of those kinds of things. Bill of Rights is generally the first 10 amendments, and then I would also say we're going to talk about the 14th Amendment, because the 14th Amendment kind of acts like the Bill of Rights. So Bill of Rights, right? First Amendment, free speech, freedom of religion, free press. Second Amendment, gun rights, or right to bear arms, rather. It's not just guns, but any weapons. We don't want to talk about Third Amendment. Fourth Amendment is arrest, search, and seizure. So if you think about police issues, for the most part, there are some other issues like schools and other government entities. Fifth Amendment is due process, eminent domain, property rights. Sixth Amendment is trial rights, grand jury, right to counsel, all those kinds of things, right to jury. Seventh Amendment is civil trial jury, basically. Eighth Amendment, right, protection against unusual, cruel and unusual punishment and fines. 10th Amendment, we won't really talk much about. That's more, even though it's in the Bill of Rights, it's kind of more akin to the first, if you were taking a con law class in, say, law school, or even here at CBU in undergrad on our trad program, we have a con law 1, which is the structure of government. That's kind of where federalism kind of goes over there. So we won't talk much about the 9th the 10th Amendment for sure. The 9th Amendment is kind of a catch-all. We might talk about that when we get to things like abortion rights and gay marriage issues and all that in terms of the last part of the semester. Talk a little bit about voting, which is not really in the Bill of Rights either. That's more in the 15th Amendment and some other things. And then the 14th Amendment, as I said, it says no state shall. And so that's where you talk, if you think about state governments, most of our stuff, policing, school, government-run schools, government and state and local governments are covered by the 14th Amendment. So we're going to talk a lot about that in relation to Congress shall make no law abridging free speech, etc., but neither shall the state of California or the city of Riverside or the county of San Bernardino or the water district of Western Nevada or whatever, in terms of all that. So anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of big, important issues in this class. We're going to talk about some hot button issues, of course. And in the discussion board, please feel free to, I wouldn't say let it rip necessarily, but I do take academic freedom and free speech very seriously, and which means almost literally. So I would also say, despite that, I'm not going to put up with any foul language. I'm not going to put up with any name calling. You can be mad at somebody and be loving, so do that if you have to. Be angry and do not sin, the Bible says, right? And then there's also an Ask Your Instructor thing on the discussion boards. So if you have a general question that you think other students would have, and I would say I don't think there's any dumb questions per se. I mean, if you ask me, what's the title of this course? Well, that's a dumb question. It's in the syllabus, and look it up. But if you have a question about content or a case, or what does this case mean, most of the time, oftentimes while this class is running, the Supreme Court is in fact meeting. And so maybe there's a decision that comes down and it's not in the book, or maybe we already went through free speech and there's a free speech decision that comes down and you have a question, then feel free to do that as well. I will try to respond to those in as timely and detailed a manner as possible. So that's your ask your instructor thing. If you want to ask me life questions too, hey, I've been married for 30 years. I got 3 kids. I got a house. I've moved from Texas to California. I know what it's like to live in blue states and red states and everything in between. So you can ask me general questions if you want. If they're personal, I might even answer them. Anyway, so I hope y'all have a good semester. I expect y'all will have a good semester. I love reading and talking and studying and teaching and answering questions about the Constitution, from Article 1 to the 27th Amendment and everything in between. So I hope you guys have a good time. I hope you learned something or some things. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Email is the best way, of course. If you leave a voicemail, it might take me more of a while to get back to you, but I will even call you back. Anyway, y'all have a good semester, and I will be seeing you in the videos throughout the rest of this course.